Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo, and I've got 4 picks for Thursday Night Football. Week 7's about to get started, and this is another week where we're getting kind of a weird schedule from the NFL. Like Monday night, I got to talk about the Monday Night Football schedule because it's going to be a late one, but we've got like some pretty decent games that night, so it'll be a lot of fun, and the games are not intersecting with each other. So the late game is kicking off at 10 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, and I mean, it's the Seahawks and the Texans, so I'm going to watch it. But yeah, and then we've got like the Lions and the Bucks at 7 p.m. So Monday night's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know about like these super late games because I live out on the East Coast, so it's going to be a late one, but we'll have some fun with it. Let's talk about the last video. We went 50-50 again. So starting off with the good, Josh Allen took him over 34.5 rushing yards. He ended up going for 42, and it kind of was a sweat because it took him, later in the game. I mean, like the Bills just had no answer for the Falcons. That was a wild game. The Falcons defense looked really good. The Bills just could not figure anything out. And then the Falcons offense looked insane. Bijan had a monster game, but speaking of Bijan, we took him over 35.5 first half rush yards. He cashed that in like the first quarter, and then went on. I mean, he had 138 rushing yards in the first half. It was insane. I got him on my dynasty league too, and like on my dynasty team, and I was already dominating the week, and he ended up being the highest. He was my last player to play. It was a wild one. Anyways, though, I wish I could be as excited about this slip as I was for my dynasty team, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Cole Kmet, this ended up not panning out. He had 2 targets. It ended up being a pretty decent showing from DeAndre Swift, which I didn't see coming. I don't expect that to be a normal thing moving forward or anything. Like, I hope he produces better and kind of figures things out. But I think he only had like 17 opportunities, including, receptions. And so it's not like the touches were crazy. He was productive. So I think that we're going to see some spikes for Swift, but maybe something they can kind of get going because they were just coming off of a bye. Maybe they worked some things out. But Cole Kmet, he had 2 opportunities. He had 1 reception, didn't get any yards, and then he had a first down get called back. I don't know if it was because of DJ Moore. Somebody was offsides or something, but I was like, we could still get there, but no, didn't work out. And then Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, this guy got a lot of work, and he just couldn't get anything done. And you don't think of the Bears as being like the most stout defense like they're supposed to be, but they've been kind of vulnerable to the run with some matchups. So I thought JCM was going to do much better than he did. But yeah, just 6.8 fantasy score. We took him over 13. So it didn't work out. We went 50-50. But yeah, I've got 4 picks. This next game, the Bengals versus the Steelers, doesn't feel like the super bounce back type game that I'm looking for. This one's kind of hard to call, but we're going to talk about 4 picks that I like, including 1 demon pick because that's the only option they had for this particular player. Before we get into the picks, though, if you guys don't mind, do me a favor, like the video, drop me a comment if you have any questions about anything. I'm going to keep dissecting this matchup as we get closer to kickoff, because I think there's value to be had there. The board just looks a little weird to me right now. But yeah, let's talk about the picks. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, hype the video too. That's been helping me out a lot. You guys have been killing it. You guys really helped me out a lot in that last video. My views are starting to bounce back, and I appreciate you guys so much for supporting what I'm doing here. So let's look at it real quick. I've got them on the screen. I just got to switch to my phone so I can see it a little bit better. So, okay. I'm going kind of simple with some of these. DK Metcalf to be expected, Jamar Chase to be expected. But I feel like I want to catch this T Higgins thing a little early. And I think that he's going to continue to head in the right direction here, and his line is still decently low. So yeah, T Higgins over 46.5 receiving yards, going DK Metcalf just over his fantasy score at 13. I think he gets in the end zone. And then Jamar Chase going to go over 6.5 receptions. I kind of like the receptions. I think that the yards, I think most things look good for Jamar Chase in this game, but the receptions at 6.5 sounds great. And then I'm going to go Kenneth Gainwell over 3.5 receptions as a demon. What's kind of weird about this is like this was an option for a demon play. They didn't just have a regular line for him, but it really doesn't boost the multiplier much. So you guys go with your gut. You don't have to take all these if you don't want to, but this is what I'm liking so far. I'm going to talk about 2 other plays too at the end, so stick around to the end because I've got 2 other plays that are both demon plays that I'm liking. Maybe it's already on your guys' radar. We'll see. But yeah, before we get into all the details, we're still running our fall special. Don't forget, this is all through the month of October. You can take advantage of this for our premium Discord, where we will be active all day tomorrow and tomorrow night, just kind of talking about the game and piecing plays together and whatnot. But right now, you use code FALL when you're signing up through Patreon, and you get 75% off your first month. So NBA is about to start. We're going to be getting wild in there with NBA every day. So I'm going to be trying to put out videos every day here when that starts up. But we'll see. I got a baby now and I got a lot going on, but I'm going to try to be cranking out a video every day, whether it be NFL or NBA, because I'm having a lot of fun. You guys have been supporting what I'm doing. I appreciate it. So yeah, if you want to come join us in the Discord, make sure you use code FALL. And I have a note on the Patreon when you're signing up, but I want to just tell you guys too, like Apple, if you're signing up through like an iPhone or an Apple device, Apple has like their own tax that they add to stuff. So if you can go desktop versus like signing up through your phone, you'll avoid like a little added tax that Apple puts on it that just goes to Apple. It's not like it helps us out at all, but I want to let you guys know so you're not saying like what's going on with this price. But let's talk about Underdog. Play 5, get 100 in bonus funds when you use code BACKDOOR. It's real simple. They've got all sorts of specials that they continue to drop for us, and I really like playing in particular the streaks, where you just pick 2 plays and then you can keep stacking in multiple games. If you cash, you can just keep adding one more pick and break it all the way down to like, I think they'll let you go as high as 11 picks. So it's a lot of fun. I'll usually go like low unit on like a streaks play, and then just keep stacking the multiplier, have fun with it. And you only have to pick one player at a time. Something to consider if you end up signing up. Check out streaks. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, code BACKDOOR, play 5, get 100. And then Chalkboard has a new promo they're running. If you use code BACKDOOR, they're going to give you 100% deposit match plus a free pick. So you're going to get like a full priced pick that is going to be at like this one, new for the new user special, like 0.5 passing yards for a quarterback. They kind of rotate what the pick's going to be. Go check that out. Code BACKDOOR, 100% deposit match plus a free pick. Now let's break into these plays and start dissecting what we got going on here. Now, this is why it's kind of like, what am I missing here? Like, I know we got Joe Flacco, who is looking like it's better than Jake Browning, obviously. He played a little bit better than I was expecting. I'm still concerned about that O-line, but the Bengals look a little bit better with Flacco. Like he's kind of bringing these players back to life a little bit. And also Joe Flacco looks better with the Bengals than he did with the Browns. So something to be a little bit hopeful about. But here's what was confusing me. 44.5 point over under. So they're expecting points to be put on the board. Vegas is projecting this to be relatively high scoring and only a 5.5 point spread favoring the Steelers, playing in Cincinnati. So we got an indoor game, so we don't have to worry about weather or anything like that. So that's why I'm going to keep dissecting this through the day and be in the Discord, putting together more plays. But let's start with T. Higgins here. So I want to take these receiving yards because I think these are, kind of low for the talent he is, but he just hasn't been very active. But they're just now getting a quarterback, So he opened up the season with 56 yards, and then it's just been sort of tank city. Hasn't been hitting much. And then we've got this game against Green Bay, tougher matchup with Flacco, and he turned it into 62 yards. And if you look at the targets and receptions, he had 8 targets, turned that into 5 receptions. So he was getting targeted. And then we've got this solid matchup here. Obviously, the Steelers are a little bit better than the Bengals, but still, to wide receivers, You've got 27th in receiving yards allowed, 160.4 receiving yards on average. And we're still getting this line low because of sort of the slump that he's been in. So overall, 31st in receiving yards allowed are the Steelers right now. So 270.4 yards per game. So yeah, I think this has great potential to turn into a shootout. If we come down here and take a look at what some of these other teams have been able to do. So you've got Jerry Jeudy beat his line. Jordan Addison, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson all beat their lines against the Steelers. Jalen Naylor didn't, but he didn't really play much. Now, the Patriots weren't very active through the air. You had Stephon Diggs did not hit his line. Kayshon Boutte did not hit his line. But then you have Matt Collins, who had a lower line at just 10.5. He was able to cash. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba was just doing JSN things and popped off for 103 yards when he played them. So all that being said, you've got Jamar Chase, the obvious target share leader, 29.4%, 57 targets on the season. It's beautiful. And then you got T. Higgins, the clear number 2. And there's actually, Chase Brown has kind of been in a little bit of a slump too, dealing with the Jake Browning stuff, but it's less to be expected from T. Higgins. So I think that Flacco is going to get him more involved. Like we saw, 8 targets is great for a line that's just 46.5. In that last game, his average yards per reception were 12.4, and then he broke one off for 19. So I think we can get to 46.5. I think he can get us to 47 here. Just making sure, yeah, that is the line I got on PrizePicks as well. By the way, this is Outlier. This is an awesome app. You can try it out for free. So I just want to let you guys know, if you're wanting to dive into the details a little bit more while you're making slips, sign up through the link below. You don't need to put a code in or anything. They're just going to let you try this for a week because it's awesome. I'm sure you'll love it. Let's take a look at the DFS optimizer real quick, see what they're thinking, because there might be something you guys prefer for T. Higgins if you're not already on the receiving yards. Okay, they're loving everything for T. Higgins. Maybe we're heading in the right direction here, and we've got multiple platforms with it down at 45.5, and it's still, the optimizer likes it over 50.64% odds to hit the over minus 119. They like his fantasy score over 10.5. They like his longest reception over 18.5. They like his receptions over 4. And then they've got the targets here at 6.5. They've got it at a 50-50 shot. But we have it on Underdog. Underdog's favoring it over just slightly, minus 122. And then Parlay Play has it at a minus 128 to go over the 6.5. So plenty of options here. I'm going with the receiving yards. That's what my gut was telling me, and the optimizer agrees. So we're feeling good about it. Yeah, we don't have to go too long on that one. Let's move on to the next play. All right, so Kenneth Gainwell. So this is the demon play. Now, maybe by the time you're watching this, they will give us the 2.5, but they're not. It's like a 1.5 goblin or a 3.5 demon. And I'm comfortable taking the 3.5 demon, personally. We got back-to-back games here with 6 receptions. And one thing that I've noticed is, if we're talking about the matchup, we know that Cincinnati absolutely sucks on defense. And now overall, they're 24th in receptions allowed. So 23.2 receptions per game is what teams are putting up against them. If we go to the running back position, it's 22nd in receptions allowed, and they're averaging only 5. But the reason that I like Kenneth Gainwell is because he's kind of being utilized more like a wide receiver too. If we take a look here, you got DK Metcalf, 23% target share, 31 targets on the season, and Kenneth Gainwell's right there behind him. So 16.5 percentage on his target share, 22 targets on the season. He's above Jonnu Smith. Now we know Jonnu kind of dealt with a little bit of injury, but still, Calvin Austin is out, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's still out. They're probably not going to show us that note here. Let's just go to injuries here real fast. Calvin Austin out as of 7 hours ago. Dealing with the shoulder, has been ruled out for Thursday's game against the Bengals. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of options. I mean, if we take a look, we got like Roman Wilson maybe, who I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't been very active. I just thought maybe try someone, maybe Ben Skoranek, but I mean, if you look at the options they've got for pass catchers, Roman Wilson, 3 targets on the season, Ben Skowronek, 2 targets on the season. There's just not a whole lot there. Now it is the Steelers, so it's not like they're passing the ball a ton. But I think this matchup, I just like Gainwell to haul in 4 for us, considering what's on the board. And again, he's cleared 3 in 4 out of the 5 games that they've played this season. Actually, this is just his last 5. Let's go to 2025. Yeah, so they have only played 5. But yeah, back-to-back weeks, 1 against Minnesota, 6 receptions, and then against Cleveland, 6 receptions. So the only thing that would give me a little bit of pause there is maybe considering the fact that like this is a soft matchup and both of these were more difficult matchups. But the Steelers ended up sneaking away with the win against Minnesota, but they are ranked 3rd in receptions allowed. And then you've got the Browns, who are also a tough defense, ranked 8th in receptions allowed. And he put up 6 on both of them. So sometimes it's like, okay, it's just so easy. They're getting what they want out of DK Metcalf, and they're just sort of running the ball. But again, I feel like he's kind of their number 2 pass catcher right now. So that's what I'm going with. You guys don't have to take it if you don't want it. But let's take a look and see what Daily Grind's thinking. Now, they're not going to have this play because it's a demon. So it's only tracking regular picks, but they're liking a lot of stuff over for Gainwell. So they like his rushing receiving yards over 45.5. They like his receiving yards over 17.5. They like the longest rush over 9.5 and his rushing yards at 23.5. All these favored to go over. They're not feeling the fantasy score at 9 because it is the most expensive. So it's not really catching that as a value. But there's some other stuff I want to show you guys about Gainwell before we get out of here. The other thing I was thinking about taking, which I ended up liking the receptions better, was potentially his rush attempts. If this game does get a little bit out of hand, his rush attempts are set at 6.5. Now, I ended up electing to go with the receptions instead, but I do kind of feel like if they do start to really like close this game out, it might not all be Jaylen Warren. And he had 6 last week in a game that they won 23-9, but that's also a much tougher defense to run on. You've got the Cincinnati Bengals, 32nd in the league on average. 31 rush attempts a game is what teams are doing to them so far this season. So 31, what do we think that Jaylen Warren's going to get? 14, 15? If they're really, maybe 18. We still got 31 here. So you throw in a little bit of Caleb Johnson, maybe they give the rookie a little bit of run, but if they don't have this game totally sealed away, I think last week Gainwell and Caleb Johnson both ended with 6 rush attempts. So I'm like, I think maybe, that's a much tougher matchup, and they got it done. So I'm kind of liking the rush attempts as well. I spent a lot of time to explain that, but yeah, I'm kind of liking it as well. Let's move on. So Ja'Marr Chase. Yeah, this one's pretty cut and dry, super soft matchup. Overall, we've got Pittsburgh with 29th in receptions allowed, 25 receptions on average are what teams are putting up against the Steelers. And then about 14.2 of those are going to wide receivers. So him being set at just 6.5, that's just too low for me. He just had 10 against Green Bay, who's surprisingly been kind of vulnerable to receptions as well, ranked 32nd. So he put up 10. I think that bringing in Flacco was the right move. Inexpensive move for the Bengals, but someone who can maybe kind of get a little something going on offense and see if they can't string together some wins until they can get Burrow back. It's like you're asking a lot there for all that to work out, but why not roll the dice on Flacco? If it works out, you didn't pay much for him, and you're planning on bringing Burrow back eventually anyways. So we'll see. But Flacco clearly is better for Ja'Marr Chase, and Flacco's just going to be locked in on Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, and then be in some situations here or there where maybe he's feeling a little bit of pressure and he dumps it off to Chase Brown. But he's going to get it to his number 1, and Flacco just slings the ball a ton. So yeah, 6.5. Now the reason I'm taking that over the receiving yards, I still think that he's going to have a solid outing. You've got 2 weeks in a row where he cleared this line, but it's just set so much higher, 79.5. Now, it could be the type of thing where he goes for like 5 receptions for like 110 yards. So you guys decide what you want to take, but I'm leaning more towards the receptions than I am the receiving yards. But I think they both look good. He has cleared the receiving yards 3 out of 5 games. But I just think the distribution, the targets are going to be headed his way. So that's what I'm going with. He had 10 receptions last week. Now he's got this soft matchup again, and in a game that's supposed to be pretty high scoring. So like I was saying, hopefully this turns into a shootout is what we're wanting here. Let's take a look. There's not like... Okay, so there's also this note from Outlier. We'll take a look at this real quick. So Ja'Marr Chase has exceeded 6.5 receptions in 5 of his last 6 games versus bottom 10 defenses for receptions allowed. He averages 10.8 receptions per game in these matchups over his last 6 games against these bottom 10 defenses for receptions allowed. And then the one he missed, ironically, was against Pittsburgh. When was that? So that was last year, December 1st. And yeah, it's kind of funny. He still had 6, so one more would have done it. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it rolling here. Let's see what Daily Grind likes for Ja'Marr Chase. They're gonna make me spell his name all weird. What is it, like apostrophe, or it's like J-A-H? I don't want to just put in Chase. I think it might be Ja'Marr. There it is. There's another R. Okay. Well, it's popping up anyways. Okay, so the receptions they love. They've got that as the top play, 54.35% odds. So we got some green on this one. 54.35% odds to hit the over, -137. And yeah, everyone's favoring it over. So it's loving it. They like this receiving yards combo over 137.5 for DK Metcalf and Ja'Marr Chase. If you guys wanted to take a look at that, 53.78% odds to hit the over, -116. Interesting. Okay. So Ja'Marr Chase receiving yards they like over as well, 74.5. Not as much juice, 51.12% odds to hit the over. They like the longest reception. They like his fantasy score over 16.5. So you've got like several overs you could jump into. But yeah, those receptions are absolutely green. So I'm feeling even better about that. If I wanted to put together a demon play, I might consider. I already got some demons that I'm considering. So obviously Gainwell, but man, it was a struggle to get that multiplier up in this game, man. But yeah, I would probably bump this up and maybe see what I can get for 7.5, 8.5. Maybe make a YOLO and just crank it up and see how that goes. But yeah, some of these single game slates are hard to get that multiplier up. All right, so where are we here? Oh, I'm getting ahead here. Rodgers. Is that everybody? Oh no, so we'll talk about Metcalf. I'll talk to you guys about Boswell and Rodgers. 2 more demon plays that maybe are already on your radar, but we'll see. So Metcalf, don't have to spend too much time on this. Very soft matchup. Calvin Austin out, like we talked about. And the connection is starting to really click. Went for 23.6 fantasy score against Minnesota. Went for 19.5 against Cleveland. 2 on paper tough matchups. Let's see how wide receivers have fared. So Dontavian Wicks didn't do much, Jamison Williams, but neither of these guys have been really doing much. J-Mo just kind of had a little bit of a bounce back in that last game, but he's been kind of a ghost. But then Cortland Sutton ended up going for 19.1 when he played Cincinnati. You guys know this matchup against Cincinnati. DK should be able to get whatever he wants. But yeah, Sutton's line was at 14, went for 19.1. We can break it down a little bit more. I'll go into the receiving yards. So yeah, 30th overall, 268.2 receiving yards allowed to wide receivers, 26th, so 156.2 receiving yards. So the yards should be able to be there for him. Let's see how they fare against receptions. So overall 24th, so 23.2. So they're pretty similar secondaries that we've got for this matchup. 23.2 receptions on average, 24th, and then to wide receivers, 12.2 of those. So they're ranked 20th in receptions allowed. Now, I don't think that's necessarily just because their defense is a little bit better than the Steelers. I think some of these games are just getting so out of hand that teams don't need to pass the ball with them as much. And the Steelers may elect to not do that as much either if this game does get out of hand. Obviously, the target leader, we talked about that with Kenneth Gainwell being the number 2 technically right now. But it's a little bit embellished because Jonnu was out for a little bit, but or was like not 100%. Let's see. Yeah, so don't need to break that down too much, but we'll look at the touchdowns, and then I'll talk to you guys about those demon plays, and then we'll go through a couple bonus plays at the end here. So, okay, so yeah, 31st in touchdowns allowed, Cincinnati. 3.8 touchdowns on average is what teams are able to put up. Now, it's not as juicy against wide receivers, but again, I think it's because some of these matchups, teams don't need to like pass to get in the end zone. They can just do whatever they want and kind of like run away with the game. But 9th in touchdowns allowed to wide receivers, 0.8. But yeah, he's got touchdowns in 4 straight games here. This is what Rodgers does, especially with an archetype like DK Metcalf, who is just an absolute specimen of a human being. The dude is crazy athletic, and you guys remember Devontae Adams, and gosh, who else did Rodgers just kind of, he gets his guy, and then Rodgers loves throwing touchdowns to the end zone to his number 1 wide receiver. We didn't see that develop as much as we would have liked to with the Jets, but I think that this connection with DK is established pretty quick now that Rodgers is out there. So yeah, I think he's getting in the end zone, so I'm just going to take the fantasy score, and I think 13 is just kind of a joke for this matchup. If we look at let's go to the red zone targets. So targets in the red zone, DK is leading, but look at it, Kenneth Gainwell is right there too. It's not like there's been a bunch of targets, but I think that's because some of these touchdowns are outside of the red zone and DK is just hauling them in. But yeah, don't have to overthink this one. I'm taking the fantasy score. Let's see what DG thinks about this one. By the way, this is the DFS optimizer. If you guys, I'm sure if you watch the show, you're familiar with it. I use it all the time. So they like the fantasy score over, just slightly though, 50.18% odds to hit the over. Now it is full point PPR, but he's not like a volume machine. So this might be kind of close. Definitely what makes it appealing is that I think he's getting in the end zone. But yeah, it's at 13 on PrizePicks, and we got FanDuel at 13.1, DraftKings 13.2, we got 13.3, but then we got Pinnacle at 12.8. So yeah, this is a really tight line. There's not a whole lot of movement here for fantasy score. They like that receiving yards combo that we talked about. They don't like his longest reception over 26.5. They've got that favored to the under. And then they don't really know how to call the targets. Like you guys know the targets, the optimizer is usually like, I don't have a whole lot of data to crunch here. You get usually more of a pronounced opinion from the optimizer when there's a lot more platforms, and it can kind of crunch all the numbers, and it's basing it off of odds. So yeah, not like a whole lot. Okay, once again, autocorrect like 30 minutes later. All right, let's talk about these last plays here. So Boswell, what I was looking at, there's a demon. Again, I think even if I turned this into a 6-man, it was going to be like 26 X on a flex. So not that exciting, hard to get that multiplier up, but Boswell over 2.5 extra points. Sounds good to me. We got 44.5 point over under. I think they're scoring 3 touchdowns. So he's done it 3 out of 5 games on the season. That last game, 23-9 against the Browns, who are tough on defense, obviously. He still had 2. So that was appealing to me. You get the demon at 2.5 for extra points. You don't have to take it, but that's one I was looking at. I'm probably going to mess around with a little bit. And then this other one is just this is just a roll of the dice, but they've got a demon for Aaron Rodgers to get 1 rushing yard. And he's done it in 4 straight games. He's not like a super mobile dude, but I see 4 straight games. I see a soft matchup here. 28th in rushing yards allowed, 135.7. It's not like he's going to be like intentionally doing this, but he tends to get at least 1 in 4 straight weeks. So if you're going to give me a demon multiplier for him exceeding 0.5 rush yards, those are just the type of demon plays I'm willing to roll the dice on. It is a tougher matchup, 3rd in rushing yards allowed to quarterbacks. But again, it's a little deceiving because it's like, there's no pressure on the quarterbacks that make them have to scramble as much is what I'm thinking why it's not just that Cincinnati's that good. It's like quarterbacks don't need to do it as much. So let's take a look. See what some of these guys have done here in the past. So Jordan Love put up 26, Jared Goff -2, not too surprised there. Bo Nix put up 7, Carson Wentz put up 4, Trevor Lawrence put up 4. So yeah, I don't think that it's just because they're that good. Yeah, so if we look here though, so when they played Cleveland was ranked 3rd as well. So maybe they're tied, but he got it done against Cleveland, and then ranked 24th against Minnesota, put up 8, and then Patriots ranked 4th, he got it, and then Seahawks, tough. They're 2nd, and he went for 3. Again, he's not Jaden Daniels, but if you're going to give me a demon for 0.5 rushing yards, I'll roll the dice on it. But let's talk about some bonus plays, and then we'll get out of here. If you guys want the optimizer for yourself, it's going to be very, very awesome real soon here when basketball starts. You can get a ton of value, but this is what the optimizer's liking so far. What's on the screen. But if you guys want this for yourself, use code BACKDOOR. They're going to give you 25% off for as long as you want to lock your subscription in. So you can lock in the whole NBA season and have it for NFL and NBA. They've got esports on here. They've got everything, which by the way, Chalkboard has esports now as well. If you guys are into that, some people in our Discord that definitely get down on some esports. But all right. So the optimizer's loving Aaron Rodgers over 14.5 fantasy score, 63.51% odds to hit the over -174. Jamar Chase, there's those receptions, 6.5. They're liking that over. Okay, so this is not just set. I'm just going to give you guys some early plays too, I guess. Well, let me just show you real fast. So you go into your settings, you can narrow down your search if it doesn't take forever. Let's find the Bengals real quick. Sorry, I usually have this ready, but at least now you guys can kind of see how this goes. So you just click Cincinnati, and then we're going to go down to the Steelers. All right, come on. I don't want just Cincinnati. So we'll go down to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then it'll just narrow down the search so you're not combing through a bunch of plays. And for future reference, let me know in the comments if you would have rather me just showed you plays that are looking good for like the Sunday games and stuff now too, because sometimes you can get value if you jump on it early. But okay, so for Thursday Night Football though, they're not feeling Jaylen Warren over 3 receptions. They've got that pretty juiced to the under because it's at 3. Everyone else has that 2.5. So the optimizer's not feeling it. 54.14%. I'm not taking that under personally. Oh, look at there. Gainwell's rush attempts. Okay. 6.5. We talked about that. If you don't want to take those receptions, that demon, just take the rush attempts. 6.5, 53.88% odds to hit the over -136. They like Aaron Rodgers to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell, all of his stuff is kind of looking good. Yeah, they like this rushing receiving yards over 45.5, 52.89% odds to hit the over. And then we've got Andre Yosevach, I believe is how you say it. Longest reception over 10.5, 52.48% odds to hit the over, -130. Jaylen Warren under his receiving yards. Interesting. They like him for a touchdown though. 0.5 touchdowns, 52.07% odds to hit the over. Pinnacle has it at -135. Dang. There you go. There's another play for you. They like Pat Freiermuth, longest reception, 10.5. They like that over. Aaron Rodgers pass attempts over. They're calling it good. Okay, Darnell Washington. I almost put him in this slip. I was looking at the fantasy score too because he's another big-bodied, freak of nature that Rodgers can just loft it up, put it just the right spot where it's just, it's just one-on-one there. So, and he's been getting a little bit more work lately. So yeah, 5.5 fantasy score. They like that over. 51.6% odds to hit the over. Jonnu Smith, they're liking all the tight ends. I mean, it is the Steelers. And I don't even remember their coach's name. He was like a thorn in my side when he was in Atlanta, and he wasn't just running Bijan into the ground. It'll come back to me, but he's big on tight ends, and they went and traded for Jonnu. He's a big Jonnu fan. So the optimizer's liking Jonnu over 7 fantasy score, 51.56% odds to hit the over. Jamar Chase receiving yards, we talked about that. Gainwell, this seems like anything of Gainwell's the optimizer's liking. Yosivas, receiving yards in general, 15.5, 51.22% odds to hit the over. Scotty Miller, longest reception over 9.5, 51% odds to hit the over. Okay. Joe Flacco pass attempts, it makes sense to me, but you're just going to get killed with correlation, which is the only bummer about these single game slates. Yosivas, fantasy score 3.5. That is really low. That's like basically like one catch. Darnell Washington, over 23.5 receiving yards, 50.98% odds to hit the over. Chris Boswell, they like his kicking points. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to get those 3 extra points. I mean, dude went nuts last week. I'll show you guys real quick if you weren't already on it. I had this dude in my Dynasty League. I had him locked in, and he went nuts for me. Look at the fantasy score, 15. I think my team put up like 228, which I know sometimes you're thinking like, well, your league's scoring settings are just insane. They're really not that insane. The second highest score was 130 in the whole league, and I dropped $1 on all of them pretty much. It was a good week. But yeah, Boswell was a part of that. So I think, if you want to take that, that is looking pretty good to me as well. But I'm just like 2.5 extra points. I feel like I want to mess with that a little bit. Samaje Perine, they like him over 16.5 rushing yards, 50.76% odds to hit the over. We're kind of getting into the red here where it's still favored over, but it's just like kind of hard to call. Roman Wilson, they like him over 7.5 on his longest reception. Yeah, if he catches a ball in this game, that's going to cash, in my opinion, just because of the way that he plays, a little bit deeper of a player. 50.71% odds to hit the over. Chase Brown over 3 receptions. Yeah, I mean, really not too bad. And the fact that the optimizer is telling you that they like it, even though it is more expensive than everything else on here. I mean, Pinnacle has the 2.5 at -171. So this is a safe floor. Pinnacle's calling it -171 to push. So good chances of you getting at least 3 in that situation. So not bad. Maybe even another demon consideration. Maybe check out, they might give you like a 3.5 or a 4.5. Some of these single game slates, you guys know I like YOLOs anyways, but I don't want to put together like a 6-man that's going to get me like 26x with a bunch of demons in there. So sometimes I'll just put like $1 on a slip and just try to go YOLO style and crank that multiplier up to like, 300-400x just for fun. Makes the game a little more entertaining. They like Samaje Perine, longest reception over as well. 8.5 on the longest reception. I'm not really that interested in it. Like, I'm not saying it sounds bad, but there's other plays I'd rather take than that. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up there because we're kind of getting into the weeds at this point. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning into the show. Oh, let's talk about it before we get out of here. Briefly. So yeah, we have another early game. We've got Sunday, just a little quick look ahead. The Rams and the Jaguars, so should be a good game. But I believe they're playing in London, 9:30 a.m. Another morning game. Which, if I wasn't in church around that time, I wouldn't be shrugging over it. But this is a game I'm going to want to watch. Should be good. 44.5 over under. Rams favored by 3. And I believe the Jaguars have a little bit of a following out there. So it is a little bit legit, them having home field advantage, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we got the early game, and then let's get down here to Monday. Yeah, so Monday, 7 o'clock, Bucks versus Lions. Should be fireworks. 52.5 over under. Not going to want to miss that game. Playing in Detroit. Lions favored by 5.5. That's interesting to me. It's got to be because of the injuries with the Bucks, because I mean, the Lions just got manhandled by the Chiefs, and the Buccaneers, it's like, doesn't matter who goes down. Baker is just showing everyone he should be the MVP this year. So I'm going to love to have pieces of this game, and we'll get to watch the whole game. And then we've got Seattle versus Houston. Yeah, this is not surprising though. 40.5 over under. Playing in Seattle. So it's just going to be a question of, can Houston keep up? Because I think JSN is going to continue to just burn. Yeah, the Texans are tough on defense, but JSN is just unstoppable right now. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I kind of wish this was the early game if I'm going to stay up to watch a game. And it's like, yeah, I'll be up at 10, but by the time that game wraps, it's going to be like midnight. So I'd kind of, if I'm going to stay up, maybe I should say the opposite. I'd rather just watch the more important game earlier so I don't fall asleep during it. But yeah, we're gonna approach this one. This is gonna be another Monday Night Football where we're gonna put out a lot of picks for it. So I'll be keeping you guys posted on that. And then I believe Tuesday is the start of NBA, so it's about to get wild. So you guys get your sleep this weekend, rest up, because starting Monday we got the late game, and then we got basketball the next day. So that's gonna do it, guys. Don't forget about the fall special for the Discord, all that stuff. You guys know it's all down below, and hit me up if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you in the comments. And that's going to do it. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy this Thursday night football game. Hopefully it's a banger. I'll catch you in the next one.